Hello, hello, and welcome to Raising Minds. I'm so excited that you're here on this channel. My name is Kristen Ancker. I am the co-host of the Raising Minds podcast with my colleague, Dr. Susan Guiney. And we're getting really excited to launch, and we will be putting some on this YouTube channel, but this YouTube channel has been my channel, and I just recently changed the name. But I have been empowering parents and teachers for, the past 25 years. And Dr. Sue and I joined forces about 5 years ago, and we're so excited to bring all of our passions of really, it's a lot of personal growth and development of the adult, and then my experience in positive discipline, and she is just a wealth of knowledge, but with our shared experience with leadership in education and how we just use everything that we've learned. And I have all these books in front of me, so I wanted to share some of my philosophy and how I started off as an educator, from the beginning, in Raising Minds. And I'm also using this as to gather all of my knowledge that I have occurred in the past, 17 years being a mom, but 25 years being an educator and a teacher trainer too. I'm a teacher mentor. So you do a lot of research, and I'm so blessed to have had this as my foundation in education after I got my master's degree, which I just did right after college, still as a fresh teacher. Like, I didn't know much about education yet, just teaching in an elementary school, in a public school. But the first job I got was a Montessori educator. So I love bringing Montessori from the start with parents from like birth to age 4 and really helping them to create that Montessori style home. But it's really just preparation of the environment, which we talked about in our podcast recently on independence. So, if you're interested, Montessori, I, worked in the schools for over 10 years, and I do a lot of consulting right now at Montessori schools. But I love the Montessori from the start. And in addition to, and I don't have the book in front of me, but, it's right here, Kim John Payne's work, and he's a Waldorf educator. So I was, again, blessed to have needed a camp at the time when we moved to our first home in Connecticut, and my daughter did this beautiful camp at a beautiful Waldorf school. So Kim John Payne, I read that Simplicity Parenting book, and that really helped me. One, it can make me a little anxious of like, oh God, there's so much. But it's a very good read. But that's just another part of my philosophy, more so for the home environment. And I think just having parents be aware of the senses. Our children are learning through their senses, and sometimes there can be a lot of visual stimulation, a lot of audio stimulation, especially for that young child. Everything now is too early, too young, too fast. And it's a really good eye-opening philosophy, the Waldorf philosophy, based by Dr. Rudolf Steiner, to be aware of, I think. But you can get in the spiral. And I remember as a young mom, so I was working in the schools, and one of the parents said to me, Kristen, you're going to read all these books, and you're going to, you could go into the over knowledge spiral, which happens sometimes to educators. But she said, you're going to find one philosophy that really just sticks, and just stick with that. So then that was the next book that I delved into, and it was out of necessity. It's part of my story that I learned positive discipline because I needed it. And it was after I moved from Boston to Connecticut, and I was pretty much a full-time, stay-at-home mom with a baby on the way, one almost 3-year-old and a baby on the way. And I really felt like really bad at the job. I was like, this job is really hard. I thought I'd be better. And I think too, I had, of course, those high expectations on myself, maybe unrealistic expectations. So I like to keep the bar low for the expectations sometimes of that mom who, thinks maybe their house is going to look like that Montessori house where, oh, my child's not putting away their toys. There's something wrong with her. No, there's nothing wrong with her. There's nothing wrong with your child. But there are some ways you can speak to invite cooperation. So what I love about the Positive Discipline series is that it really teaches you developmentally, where is the child at? And then what are the tools that you need to deal with the problem or the concerns or the challenges is really what it is, the challenges, through respect and making sure to treat the child with dignity. And this is 100% like one of the best things you can learn about. So I am a positive discipline facilitator, and I train teachers and parents. And it's great. It's great stuff. And I didn't realize how awesome this was until you do, right? You don't realize, you're like, oh, this is all common sense. Everybody knows this stuff, but come to find out, people actually don't. So I love learning about it. After then, becoming a parent, I just delved deep into not just helping my children, but then you have to help yourself too. And so that's when the idea of, that self-care, self-love, and really just understanding who you are as a human being and what your needs are. What are your needs? What are your wants? And then sometimes that can happen before you are a parent. Sometimes it happens while you're a parent. Sometimes it happens when you first get married. You're figuring out like who you both are, who you are as a human being. And that's where, just delving deeper into the philosophy. So Positive Discipline, the work of Dr. Jane Nelson and Lynn Lott, they studied Alfred Adler, and Adlerian psychologists. If you know, it's just so amazing. It's so awesome. Like this is such a good book, actually. And it's not just for educators. I don't think like some books can be dry. This is a great book, but it is, he was a Viennese psychologist. He's a contemporary of Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung. So all three of them were practicing at the same time. Sigmund Freud, Alfred Adler, and Carl Jung. I think it's C.G. Jung, J-U-N-G. And it's actually really fascinating because, of course, there was some drama. And I don't know about you, but talking to Dr. Sue the other day when she and I were recording the podcast, I'm so annoyed. I was like, Sue, if, Sigmund Freud, he was crazy. If we only just listened to this guy back in the day, if everybody was just trained in Adlerian psychology and we didn't follow what Freud and his cuckoo interpretation of human behavior. This is great. So Alfred Adler. And Adler, unfortunately, and this is, I'm just learning more and more about it because as I'm going through my certification to be an advanced trainer in positive discipline, you obviously have to learn more and practice and study. And it's just and they say it's like common sense psychology. It's individual psychology. So it's developing the human being and knowing that we can change. So we don't have to be going to everybody can do what they want to do, but you can go to a therapist for years and talk about your problems and make it, and not excuses, but, blame people for your life. Or you can change. You can set a goal, and you can learn about what are your patterns. What are your patterns of behavior? And really what it is the patterns of thought. Because that is just, it's all human behavior, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I know that this is something that I'm going to be studying in the spring. But my kids' school, they're reading, it's for the teenage one. So I'm going to get the teenage one. I'm not going to reread this. But Stephen Covey, he followed Adler. They all followed Adler because it's good. It's really good information. So I'm so excited to continue to teach on this. And I have been teaching on this within my community, with my one-on-one parent coaching and the workshops we do at schools. But Dr. Sue and I are just trying to bring this to more schools and help adults that are working with children and help them to understand behavior and understand what the behavior is telling us, and then what we can do to support them to become who they are going to become. So it really is, it says understanding human nature and the psychology of personality. So it's our personality, and that's a fascinating topic. I did this workshop a couple months ago with a group of educators, and you learn what are your assets and what are your liabilities. So we all have strengths and weaknesses. In positive discipline, we always use the positive. So assets and liabilities. And one of the workshops that I do with adults, and it's so fun, and you can actually do it with children too, which I haven't done it with kids yet, and I'm really excited to do that. But it's called our top card. So our top card is based on our personality, who we are being in the day-to-day, but it's also based on this private logic, these beliefs, a belief system that we have been living our life through a lens. And the lens is from early childhood or somebody in our life who was a role model, usually a parent, but it could be a sibling, and it could be a teacher too. So it's, based in early childhood though, but it's an experience. And then you're able to understand not just your behavior, but you can understand other people's behavior. So this is why, unfortunately, I say he did pass away way too young. He was only 67. But Dr. Rudolf Dreikurs continued his work into the United States. This is where I live. And Dr. Sue's work. And she said, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to her and the work that she's done at schools to really develop this child-centered learning, which is what Dreikurs was doing for many years, following Adler's psychology. And it's philosophy. Some people call him a philosopher, but that was really just because Sigmund Freud tried to push him out. There was a little ego there, huh, Freud? A little ego. But really what it is, what we're talking about is, and this is something that I credit one of my mentors, Lynn Lott, through encouragement consulting. She opened my eyes to this idea that we can change. And this idea that we do have these thoughts that are based on the feelings that are based on these beliefs, and how we can, I think it's just really developing the awareness first, but then changing. You can change. And that's what I really am excited to bring to this channel, is more information about how to change. I am a certified transformational mindset coach through David Bayer, and I love his work because he learned it. He learned it through the hard way, which is usually how people learn. And you can probably talk to many therapists or psychologists or doctors. Even a lot of and there's research that I don't know, but I heard this and read this, how many doctors become a doctor because when they were in early childhood, experienced a death in the family, or a death of a sibling usually, and that was a goal that they had from that early childhood experience. So that's an extreme example of Adlerian psychology in place, but that's you would almost say, well, that's not a good goal. It's a good goal. They became a doctor. That's amazing. But that is an example of when there's an experience in early childhood, you then have this lens. But you can change your mind. You can change your mind. And that's why I love this book too. But it really is having that self-awareness first, really seeing what is a good life? What is a good life? What does a good life look like? So you go through really evaluating your life through a life evaluation process where you see health and wellness. What is health and wellness? What does it look like? And it's, really looking at these 11, 10 different areas. I know you probably have seen like that Wheel of Wellness, but these are all things we're going to be talking about and doing. And I'm really excited to be bringing this to you. And eventually we're going to get better and better with technology. And right now you're just in my living room, and that's okay. The thing that I actually am super excited about, and this is something that I'm sending out to my community. If you are interested in getting our newsletter, just DM me your email and I'll send this out to you. It's this courage to be imperfect, And this is something that I learned in my positive discipline training, but it's also this idea that there's a book that you may or may not have read, and it was, and I'll have to do a little review about it after I read it, The Courage to be Disliked. And again, it's using Alfred Adler's philosophy on life. So I'm super excited to share all of those things with you. We will be dropping our first podcast. It's happening before 2026. I promise. I'm going to just say it. I kind of wanted to do it today because today is a very fun and spiritual day. But it's going to happen, Raising Minds podcast. And we have a few already recorded. And right now we're just still figuring out, but I'll just make sure to put the audio on this. We will be starting a landing page and figuring all that out. But I'm just excited to get started and share this wealth of knowledge. So I come through the eyes of a curious parent, as 3 children. I have a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old, and an 11-year-old. Dr. Sue, she's a doctor in leadership. She's been an educator for over 40 years, a former superintendent of schools. She too we both are curious. We're doing all the research. We're reading all the books. We're sharing this knowledge with you. And we're just going to come with short 15, trying to keep them all under 20 minutes, not this video, but short 15-minute podcasts. And then we are going to be interviewing experts. We already have a great lineup once a month. And then I'm just going to keep sharing different videos, and Sue may or may not. And we are just going to continue to support parents and educators on this journey through sometimes, parenting the kids, but sometimes we're reparenting ourselves, and that's okay too. So I hope to share all these really, really great tools with you. And I hope to help your families to thrive. All right. Have a great day, and look out for the podcast. But also, if you have any questions, you can look me up, KristenAncker.com, and you can definitely get on that newsletter that way too. All right. Have a great day. Bye.